Hi, everybody. Hi, representative from Southern Poverty Law Center. Listen, it's not a question of if they're here. They are here. There is somebody here. I don't know that person personally. I just know for sure if you have a $69 million budget, you're getting somebody in here. So let's talk about PragerU. First of all, it's such an honor to be here. I've been associated and a member of American Freedom Alliance for many, many years, and I'm proud to be a board member today. So, thank you. I'm also a member, by coincidence, of the PragerU 501c3. So I'm very proud of that. It's so great. And we have been working, as you probably know, you know a lot about the background, what's happened with the videos. Have you all seen the PragerU videos, folks? Okay, raise your hand. Okay, everyone, that's great. That delights my heart. We have gotten more than 500 million viewers of our videos to date. This is our greatest year ever. So that's a lot of eyeballs, and Google doesn't like it. Okay, it's all cute and well if, let's say, 10,000 people are viewing your views. Okay, that's contained. But 500 million, we got a problem, right? So that's what's happening with Google and YouTube. They do not like the amount of attention that we're getting. So what they're starting to do is restrict our videos. So what does that mean? Does it mean they outright ban our videos? Not yet. What it means is that they are restricting it by the age level, right? So certain code words are mentioned, sexuality, violence, and such. And if you have a family where you have those restrictions, you ain't seeing those videos. So you have to go through other sources and such, but for most people, YouTube is your primary source. And that means that we have a lot less in the way of eyeballs and a lot less in the way of ad revenues. That's very important for us. We discovered this by happenstance because some kids at universities were saying that, hey, we're not seeing the latest videos, and they reported that to us. So we dug into that and we figured out that it was a restriction. And so we talked to Google and YouTube. And they said, well, it's an algorithm. What can we do, right? So we said, okay, well, would you mind taking a manual look at these videos and tell us where all this sexuality and all this violence is happening? So they said, okay, we'll get right back to you. It took a long time for them to get back to us. Finally, they said, yeah, we agree with the algorithm. We're maintaining our focus. Okay. So we kept on pushing them, and it took a long time. We're not litigation happy, which is, contrary to my general approach in law. No, PragerU is not litigation happy, and nor should anyone be. And we tried to resolve this, but they insisted, and they're restricting more and more of our videos. So unless we do something, they're going to eventually ban us altogether. We know that. You know that. Okay. So I'd like you, since we all use Google, I'm sure, and there's been a little bit of talk before about the algorithms and how you don't even know what they're doing. But imagine you're a student in high school and is that what I look like? Okay. And you're deciding to do a paper on Abraham Lincoln. And you don't know, because kids don't know anything about American history. Just nothing. The conservative kids do, but ask your liberal kids, what year did America declare independence? Just ask them that question. And tell them it's not a trick question. They won't know. You'll hear years like 1945 with a question mark after it. 1967, I heard. What? So, you think we were wearing wigs and all that stuff, and it was George Washington? Anyway, these are young people, but they just have no idea. So let's say you're doing a research paper on the political party of Abraham Lincoln, just some background. So you Google Abraham Lincoln political party, right? Okay, what does it come up with? No? The answer is the National Union Party. You didn't know that, did you? that's apparently what we thought it was Republican, the first Republican, but it turns out it was the National Union Party. You're saying, what is that? Well, that's Google's, Google has this summary, for its kind of default summary. That's what it's doing. Likewise, if you were to check onto the fall of the Berlin Wall and the cause of the fall of the Berlin Wall, what do you think? Anybody? JFK. Who said JFK? All right. So the answer is, according to Google, the great reforms of Gorbachev. Okay? He was such a good guy. That's why. He wanted to tear down. I guess when Ronald Reagan told him to tear down this Berlin Wall, he said, no, I was there before. I'm going to do that before. So that's what you'll see on Google. This is the mindset that's going on with Google. And so this is what we are fighting. By the way, my son, who's here today as well. So we're checking out middle schools for him. And so he was going through a tour yesterday. And the teacher there was saying something about, somebody asked about why did the Berlin Wall fall? It just happened to be a coincidence of this. Same topic. And the teacher said, it's because the West was getting much more liberal and open, and the communists wanted that. And so they said, let's go. Like, what are you talking about? So I had to explain it to my son. He already knows about this. He's a good conservative. And thank you, Max, for being a good conservative. All right? He knows so much about American history and world history. I'm not worried whatsoever about him. Look, so what are we doing with PragerU and this complaint? This is viewpoint discrimination, as Dr. Becker described. It's exactly the problem that we're facing. We've got a great team. I'm proud to say that I participated in the drafting of this complaint with different causes of action and such. It's a challenge. You're talking about the First Amendment here. What do you do when the First Amendment's at play? So, and what do you do when a company like Google gets to say, hey, we're a private organization, and we do whatever we damn well please? Okay? So, here's how we're arguing it. The argument is very simple. Listen, you are a de facto public forum. And they are. And there's a case called Pruneyard from a while back now that basically held that a shopping mall was a de facto public forum where you had to allow people to speak their mind as they pleased. And the internet is even more so, isn't it, when you think about it? I mean, in a shopping mall, you're selling clothes and food and tchotchkes, and that's little stuff for the Jews among us. All right? So that's what they do, these shopping malls. But in the internet, you're only exchanging ideas, right? So that's where you want the First Amendment to really play, right? So we're arguing that, and I'm telling you, this is going to be a huge case. I would like you all to follow this case because it ain't settling, my friends. And I'll tell you why. And most cases do settle, but it's binary, and only one team will survive. Google is not about to tell or let anyone tell it how to operate, and it ain't going to let them, any court, decide that it is a quasi-public forum, because once that happens, as it should happen, then they have to let everyone in. And who is this small, relatively small organization called PragerU to tell them what they can and cannot put on their Google web pages, right? So they're not going to settle. And if they do settle, think about it, right? I mean, the word will get out. And then people say, well, you settled with this PragerU organization, you're going to have to settle with us. So they have, in a sense, no choice. And for us, it's existential. PragerU, right? I mean, because if we lose this, what will Google do, right? They will be emboldened to restrict even more. And we have no choice but to move forward. They gave us no choice at the end of the day. Look, here's something very interesting, and you tell me if you think this is viewpoint discrimination. Where's Dr. Becker? Where is he? All right. So you tell me. So the LGBTQ, and there's a whole bunch of letters now beyond that, I don't know. What does the Q stand for, by the way? Question? Oh, okay. Okay. Some people say, okay. Whatever. Zeigesund, you know. So the LGBT community, they also has some restrictions from Google. Also. Okay? And understandably so, because a lot of the videos that they had, by definition, it's about sexuality, right? And the different forms of sexuality and such. Well, Google just peed in their pants, and they said, okay. And they basically said, okay, no restrictions anymore. So in other words, we have all sorts of videos about lesbian and gay and other kinds of sexuality that are unrestricted, but if you want to talk about the Ten Commandments, well, you know, thou shalt not kill, seriously? So this is what we're facing. And clearly that's viewpoint discrimination. I don't even need to ask Dr. Becker about that. But that's terrifying, isn't it? Look, I stand before you today about 9 years after I announced that I'm going to be writing a book. I said it was going to be 3 months from then, but now it's 9 years later. But okay, who's counting? And it's coming out actually tomorrow. And the book actually applies to what we're talking about freedom and free speech, generally speaking. It's called Atheism Kills, and it's going to be available for pre-order tomorrow. So, thank you. I appreciate that. But it's only because it's bookending with the American Freedom Alliance, and I'm so appreciative. They were always so supportive. But one of the things I talk about, it's a very big chapter, is why do we even care about the First Amendment? I mean, it's funny, isn't it, when you think about it? No one really cares about the First Amendment. There's a lot of lip service to it, but they don't care. I mean, I forget who said it, a woman who said, I may disagree with what you have to say, but I will defend to the death your right to say it. And today, you say, really? Are you, my lefty friend, are you willing to defend to the death my right to be opposed to abortion, for example? I don't think so. In fact, I think you're beating me up for my saying it. If I'm supportive of Israel, are you going to let me say that? Seriously? I walked around yesterday, on Friday, at UCLA campus with an I Love Israel sticker. My kids had it because we go to a Jewish day school. And I promptly forgot about it, and then I saw these very nasty looks. Now, I kept it on, of course. I'm not afraid of anything. But thank you. But the bottom line is that there's a lot of fear out there. And you shouldn't be afraid. Never be afraid. Okay? Speak your mind. Speak the truth. God will protect you. Okay? So I'll tell you about our freedom of speech, the focus in my book. And that is, you really wonder, what is the freedom of speech? What does it mean? We have a First Amendment, and it says, you shall not restrict the freedom of speech or the right to religion, right? You ever wonder why it's in the same amendment? Right? I mean, kind of weird when you think about it. Why not separate it out, like the gun control thing, right? Why not, is it a run-on sentence somehow? Right? Or did they want to make it 10 amendments and they'd like the number 10? Right? It just, this one goes to 11 sort of thing. No, they don't have that, right? It's mixed in. So what is the right of freedom of speech? What is the greatest thing that you speak about? Is it because you want to complain to your government? That's what you're willing to die for? That the taxes are too high? Okay, yeah, a little bit. You want to express your opinion about how you don't like the latest dresses put out by this or that clothing company? Okay. You willing to die for it? What's the most important freedom of speech that you really have? It's the freedom to pursue God. And that, I put it to you, is why it's in the same amendment. Okay? Now, I love this organization. I love PragerU. We have gotten so much money and support for this lawsuit. And I know AFA is right behind it, and I know all of you are right behind it, and I thank you so much for this. Listen, we got to have the good fight. Pray with us. Thank you all for being here. And Southern Poverty Law Center, go to hell.